Hello and welcome. We're going to do some of the JSX markup here for the login and sign up. We're going to get the logo in as well as these inputs and maybe the submit button as well. We're just going to get them on the page, import the logo and place everything and work on styling it a bit later. So let's get started. Here we are in our auth.js. You might have something in your div. It doesn't matter. Just get rid of all of this now. And now we're going to work within these parentheses here to return some actual JSX. The first thing we'll do is a div. Now the div will have a class name. The class name is how we'll select it when we use CSS. So class name will equal, and this div is just going to be the login-form. So that's the login form div. That'll go around everything in the login form. Now everything in the login form starts with the logo. This is above the login form. We'll do that after. So inside the login form is the logo, these two inputs, and this button. So let's get those in there. So the first thing we'll need to do is an image, img. We'll do a class name on that as well. And our image class name is going to be login-form __ logo. Now, we don't need to put anything inside of this. We can make this self-closing, and we could do everything else that we need inside of this self-closing tag. So in our image tag, we need an src. That's the source, but we have no source yet. We have no image. So what we're going to do is in our src folder, right here, put a new folder, img. That's where we'll keep our images, and we're about to go get the image that we need. The image will be linked under the video, and you can go to it like this. It'll look like this. Right click on it, save as, and I would save that right out to my desktop, just as a logo. Now get your Auth React Mongo, or whatever you might have named it, double click it so we can get into it. Go over to your src and then your image and drop that logo in there. Now we have the logo in our project. Let's find it. So from here, our source is require. And in our require statement, we're just going to navigate to it. It'll be // and we'll get to // and we'll get to image and logo.svg. Now we should have our logo on the page. Let's take a look. We do. Here's, oh no, hold on. Let's make sure. We do. Great. So this is our React app here, and here's our logo. So if you went over to it, you should have your logo on the page now displaying. Now we'll make our inputs. So just input, class name. That'll be called input __ text. And those can self-close as well. And there's a few things we want to go through on an input text. So this is going to be our email here. So we want to write type. We want to equal that to a string that says email. This will do a little bit of email validation for us that we don't need to do. We'll need a placeholder. And the placeholder will be email address. Or you could put email or whatever really suits your need for that. The name of this will be email. And then what we'll need is a value and an on change, but we're not going to do too much of the functional programming in this video. So after this, just do require, because we're going to need this to be required. So once you type that, this is a required parameter. They can't submit a form without this being done. And thinking about that, we should make this a form. Let me do that right around all of this. So under your div, because the div doesn't need to be in the form, so we'll make a form right here. Let's make the form class name, and it'll be login-form __ group. So this takes everything that we need in our form. We need to wrap everything in our form with the form. Now, not this, not login form itself. That's the outer shell. That's this outer shell here. We don't need that within the form. What we want in the form is everything else. So we really need the email address, password, and login. I'm going to include the logo as well because that will do no damage at all. So we'll take the form, we will put it above this div. So now inside of our form is our image and one input, our email input. Let's make a second input, class name. And now this will be the same as the last one, just input __ text. Make that self-closing, and we'll do a few more things here, just like type. And the type is going to be password. This will protect, let's get that inside the string, password. Now this will protect anyone from seeing what's being typed in. It'll all be stars. We'll have a placeholder here, and that will equal password or anything you want it to be. And we will have a name for it, and you guessed it, it's going to be password. So we know we're referring to password when we're dealing with this, and it is required as well. So the information cannot be submitted unless this field is filled out. So we have all that done. Now we should have two inputs on the screen. If you save this up, let's see what we have. All right, so we have our logo ipsum up here. We have email address and password. So we have our two inputs. Let's make our button. The button is also an input. I know that seems a little strange, but everything in this form is going to be an input. So this is going to be an input button. We're going to give it a class name. Oops. We're going to give it a class name. It's going to be called input __ submit, and make sure that's a string as well. There we go. So we have a class name of input submit. We're also going to have a type. Now this makes it a button. When you have type submit, you have yourself a button, and the value is going to equal login, and that's what it's going to say. So we want that to say login. Save that up. Let's see if we have everything we need on the page. Here we are with our logo, our email address, our password, and our login. It doesn't quite look like this yet, but everything we need is here. So follow me to the next video where we'll do the CSS and get this styled from looking like this to looking a lot more like this. You did a great job on this video, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. I'll meet you there.